Hi team, welcome back to the TrackHouse. Tonight we're going to do a 20-minute progressive run that we're going to target for the 5K series. So we're going to dive straight into it. We'll do a few minutes to warm up before we kind of dive into what a progression is and kind of what we're going to do for the session. So let's get moving. If you are outside, as normal, start with a little walk for kind of 100 yards or so. And if you are on a treadmill, what we're going to do is exactly the same. Start with a little walk, but I want to get moving before I go any further. Let's just start turning the feet over, a couple of steps, all we need. Nice. So we're going to do a progressive run this evening. We've got 20 minutes total time. So we do about 3 minutes to kind of warm up and ease into it. And the progressive run is something where, or a progression run is where you start one speed and then you finish at a speed that is going to be the fastest pace for towards the end of the session. So as the session progresses, our speed increases. So for us, because we only got a 20-minute session, we're just going to get straight into it. My pace is really slow, but I'm doing that thing where I move my feet nice and quickly just to kind of move my body a little bit, nice and high on my toes, running on the balls of my feet, tiny little steps, kind of that moment. Do a fast forward as if you're creeping to the fridge at night to grab something out. You're on your tippy toes. You're just kind of moving quite a little bit quicker. That's what we're aiming for right now. Now, the point of a progression run is that it's really comfortable, which is kind of ironic, really, because you end up and you finish at quite a high speed. But the majority of the session is really comfortable. The whole point is that when you actually get to that kind of faster speed, which is like the last 20% of the run, that is when you're already kind of beginning to fatigue and beginning to feel some of the stress from the run. So as we're going to do a 3-minute warm up or a 3-minute jog before we start building, and then every 2 minutes we're just going to bump the speed. So all we're really going to do is keep moving and then a bump of the speed every 2 minutes. I'm not going to be progressive, or I'm not going to kind of tell you what speed I think you should be running, but the majority of the session I will try and give you a guide on how it should feel. And we're going to start incredibly aerobically, which means that it should feel nice and easy. And as I said, for my warm-up, I could walk at this pace happily. This is my walk, and I'm walking at 30 more seconds, but and then I'm going to get into it, or we will get into it, and we can nudge it a little bit. My options are the same, right? I'm either kind of walking a little bit purposefully, or I'm doing my nice little slow, fast turnover of the feet, but it's a slow jog. It's very easy. I'm just moving the arms a little bit. So this is just your warning that in the next 15 or the next 10 seconds, this is when the session is officially going to start. And we're just going to bump the pace in 5, 4, 3, 2, and here is our first bump. Again, very gentle, incredibly aerobic, nothing to really worry about just yet, because the beginning of the session, it shouldn't be hard work. You should be able to have a conversation. Put it this way, the progressive session is a session where you should meet up with a buddy and you should be talking at the beginning. The conversation should then kind of dwindle into kind of single sentences. So you're, quick question about what they're going to be up to on the weekend, and the reply is, a little bit shorter. Then you kind of focus on your run. And then towards the end of the session, that last 4 or 5 minutes, you probably shouldn't really be talking that much at all. Just conversations of, how does that feel? Yeah, I'm all right. You good? Yeah, I'm all right. That should be kind of all you can really manage, because the focus should be all on your breathing. We're 1 minute down into our 2 minutes before we bump the speed again. So as I said, now super comfortable, should be able to kind of fast walk it if anything, if you need to be. But the whole point is we never slow down. We kind of maintain the same speed. If you're outside on the road, it's a little bit more tricky. If you're on a treadmill, nice. You just only ever hit the plus button until the end, in which case we whack the stop button and we're done. But for now, it's all about just gently increasing the pace every 2 minutes. But the 20 minutes, it does kind of pass kind of really before you know it as the pace builds. And it actually, you know, for what feels like a really comfortable session, you finish, well, finish is quite hard, 10 seconds, and we're just going to do another gentle nudge on the speed. But like I said, it should still be incredibly manageable and an easy pace. 3, 2, 1, gentle tap, tappity tap on the speed, little bump on the speed, just increase slightly, ever so slightly. That's all we're going to need. And we'll do this for another 2 minutes and we'll just keep going. But the whole point is that we never slow down. We never decrease our speed. And this one, because it's a gentle one, part of the 5K series, you know, the entire time you should be able to have a conversation. It shouldn't feel too bad. And if you are struggling, or you feel like your pace is getting too quick, or you've gone too quickly, you know, too fast, too soon, you know, obviously just bring it down a little bit. But we're going to try and avoid that by keeping it nice and comfortable just for the whole start of the run. And like, even at this moment, the idea is you should be able to kind of fast hike it still. Same pace, but we're doing it in a running motion. And if anything, if you feel like you're kind of getting, you know, you've got to a pace that you're happy to run at, but you're just worried about going a bit quicker, maybe instead of increasing the pace, just nudge the incline up a little bit. You know, sometimes you can substitute that. So 30 seconds and we're going to bump again. And then this time, just a gentle one, a little bit faster. All we're going to do is just get to the point where our cadence is changing, our steps per minute. It's just going to change ever so slightly. And we're just going to pick it up slightly. Arm movements are going to be a bit quicker. You might find that your stride lengthens a little bit as the speed increases, but that's fine. 10 seconds, and we're going to hit another bump. And this is the nice thing is, or the daunting thing, you know, about a progression run is 3, 2, 1, just a little gentle nudge on the pace once again. The daunting thing about a progression run is that you know it's coming. That's the hard thing. You know that, like, even though, oh yeah, this feels super comfortable, you know, after a certain amount of time, you know, running at any speed becomes difficult. But the progression just keep increasing, and we're doing an increase every 2 minutes, just a gentle nudge. But the daunting thing is the fact that you're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, this is starting to get a little bit faster and and then you kind of know that you should really only be able to, you know, increase that speed and not drop it back. That's the tough thing about the progression session. But I would say it's probably one of those things that when it comes to racing and events, that is going to help you kind of build that engine, build your fitness. And one of the things I shared at the start of the year was, you know, I was like, someone needs to tell me that if I want to get a PB this year, I don't need to start faster, I need to finish faster. And this is the kind of session that's going to help you do that. So 30 seconds, and we got another little bump. Whew. Again, the nice thing about the progressive is it gives you something to think about. You know, you've got 2 minutes to kind of think, settle in, and then you got to kind of readjust. And then in that moment where we readjust, you know, we do the full body, readjust our breathing, readjust our foot strike, 10 seconds. And then just another gentle bump, super gentle. 5, 4, 3, 2, and I'm going to bump the speed just a little bit. Again, nothing crazy, but perfect. Okay, and again, like I said, bump the speed, readjust everything, readjust your breathing, settle that into a nice rhythm. Pace, now because the pace doesn't change, we should be holding a single pace. You should be able to find that rhythm for 2 minutes. And then as we bump the speed up, that rhythm should change just slightly. Same with your foot strike, metronomic. Listen to it. Make sure it's consistent. And if you're running on pavement or you're running on a treadmill, like listening to how your feet landing becomes a very good indicator of how well you are running, because it should sound the same the whole time. And there are different ways to land on your feet, but if you just listen, fall into that rhythm and let that rhythm be consistent, that's definitely going to be a good guide that you're on the right path. I mean, you're on a treadmill. There's no other path to take, but you know what I mean. Don't play those games with me. So move the arms, relax the shoulders, because we're starting to breathe a bit harder now. The intensity's gone up a little bit, breathing just that little bit harder. We're 10 minutes in. So we've got another 10 minutes to go. What's that? 4 more bumps? Yeah, 4 more bumps. And then the last kind of 2 or 3 minutes or 2 or 4 minutes, that's when it starts getting tough. So you've got another 6 minutes where it should be kind of really nice. Breathe deeper, relax the shoulders. Like I said, every now and again, drop the arms down. This is your 20-second warning for the next bump. Drop the arms down, relax, shake them off, pick the hands back up. Don't hold any tension in the shoulders. Let the shoulder joint do its job. 10 seconds. I'm going to talk to you about shoulders in a second, but we are going to get our bump out of the way first. 4, 3, 2. Ooh, little bump. Nice. Okay, I'm kind of getting closer to that purposeful running. That point where I'm having to kind of like just think a little bit more about drawing oxygen and actually actively breathing, purposeful breathing. So shoulders, let's not forget that it's a ball that sits in a socket, and that ball can move backwards and forwards, and that's what you want to utilize. So elbows go back, drive forward, and that's the thing. Your hand should almost be touching your hip every time, because your elbow is driving backwards and forwards, and we're not letting our hands come across our body. Coming across doesn't really utilize that ball and socket joint in our shoulder. Again, this is something we've got to teach ourselves. Whew. That's 1 minute for this bump. 1 minute warning. Things are starting to kind of almost get to that point where it's like, okay, I might, if I'm on a treadmill, I might think about, maybe just doing a gentle bump, that kind of like 1 button hit. That's perfect. That's all we'll do. That's good. If that's what you've got, that's what I'll take. This is your 35-second warning as we get near 12.5 minutes of this progression run. So again, shoulders backwards and forwards with the elbow, just touching your hip with your hand ever so slightly. Fingers should be nice and loose and soft. This is your reminder to relax the hands. If you're there tensing your hands right now, just relax the fingers, give them a quick wiggle, nice little wiggle. 10 seconds, and we're going to do a gentle bump because we're getting near that danger zone now. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There we go. 1. I'm going to do a double bump, but yeah, nice. Perfect. I'm moving a bit more purposeful. I'm probably what I would consider well within my running stride now. This is kind of how I would go out for a run. I'm concentrating on how my feet are landing. That's super important. This is your check-in. Are you still landing on your feet in the same way as when you started your run? Or have you changed? Have you dropped into maybe a stride that's a bit more fatigued? Are you landing on your heel a bit more? Or are you managing to hold and keep your nice running posture? That means that small little tense of the abs. Arms are nice. Arms are working hard, but the shoulders are nice and relaxed. No tension in the neck. Relax. And then, because it's the business end, we start breathing. Focus on the breath. And this is 1 minute. And then we're bumping again. And this is definitely going to be a gentle bump for me, but I'm definitely going to go up. And for those of you, it should still be it shouldn't be too much hard work just yet. So I'd rather this was still nice and gentle, and then you kind of have to up it a couple of times towards the end, rather than you kind of getting to now and having to back off the pace as we get near. And we're actually nearing On this bump, that'll be 15 minutes for the run. That's in 30 seconds. We'll clock through the 15-minute mark on our next bump, which gives us 5 minutes left. Whew. Shoulders, arms, how's the body feel? Quick check-in, 10 seconds to the bump. Are we picking up any, how does our body feel? Any soreness? 3, 2, 1. Gentle bump for me. That's a one touch. Okay, nice. Ooh, Max, what have you done? Maybe you've gone a bit too hard, because now when it gets to those last few minutes, I've got to hold that. So dangerous game, these progressives, trying to hold it. But the nice thing is, if you do use, you know, like a Garmin Connect or a Fitbit or a Strava, you'll be able to see after your run, your stats, your pace should just, you know, just gently increase every time. So your pace should go up. So your time per minute comes down, or time per K, or time per mile. That's the one. Whew. It's hard to talk and get all that oxygen in, feed my legs and my brain. So don't at me. It's tough. Okay, 1 more minute and we're coming into our last 2 bumps. So now on this next bump, we should be kind of getting to that point where, you know, it's running. You're definitely, you know, you wouldn't really be having a conversation with your buddy next to you if you're outside. It starts getting that little bit more serious, you know. Anything you say would just be short and sweet, and then you carry on. So a couple of big breaths, 30 seconds, conversation drops down. You know, you imagine yourself, you probably wouldn't be able to talk too much after this bump. And we've got 2 more to go. So don't go crazy with this next one, because we have 4 minutes, well, after this to finish off. Okay, 10 seconds. And 4, 3, 2, 1, gentle bump. Let's go. Nice. Conversation drops because we're working a bit harder. Now you're really thinking about breathing. Now you really have to be purposeful with your breath. You're really drawing it in, really starting to have to kind of match your pace with your breathing. It becomes really rhythmic now. Breathing should be so consistent, and that's the important part. Arms start driving the legs and the feet, and that's what gets you moving, because your legs are getting tired and your arms are going to do the work, because there's less pressure. There's nothing, kind of no force or resistance going through them. So the arms, move them backwards and forwards because they're tied into your legs. Move the arms, be a bit more purposeful with them. You've seen kind of Rocky Balboa running along the beach. He's like, rah, all arms, but his arms are going to be driving his legs. 1 more minute, and then we're going to do 1 more bump, and we're going to hold that for 1 minute. And that is when we are at an uncomfortable pace. Hold it for 60 seconds, and that will be our 20 minutes. So we have 2 minutes left. We have 1 bump in 45 seconds, and then we're going to hold that for 1 minute, okay? 30 seconds to go. Arms are doing the work. Breathing is nice and consistent. Foot strike is nice and consistent. Turnover, focus on the cadence. Increase the speed of your feet. Don't open up your stride too much. Try and avoid heel striking if you can. If not, just concentrate on tensing your core a little bit. 15 seconds, and then we bump in. 10. I'm going to grab a couple of breaths because I kind of want to get to that point where I'm holding it for a minute. 4, 3, 2, 1, bump. Okay, business. This is the one. This is that kind of point when, you know, you've seen that last kind of, that sign of a race that's like last 100 meters. And you're like, all right, I got this. And your body's just working without you thinking about it too much. Your mind is just like, right, get it done. That's where we are now. We're at that kind of just get it done. 30 seconds to go. Hold on, consistent with your breathing. Be forceful with it. Draw the air in hard. Keep your arms moving. Pump the legs. 20 seconds to go. Finish line's in front of our face. Whew. I know I said it's a 20-minute session, but when the 20 minutes are up and we've got 10 more seconds, we're just going to slow it right down for a minute. Whew. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hit the ejector button. Bring the belt right down to a walking pace. If you're outside, slow it right down to a walk. Nice, easy walk. Catch your breath. Eyes up to the sky. Eyes up to the ceiling if you're inside. Big breaths, open up the chest. Relax the shoulders, hands come down by your side. That's a progression. That is a great progression as well. I love that. Every 2 minutes, a little bump, but it doesn't get serious until the end. How good is that? They're so deceptive because you go into them thinking, yeah, this is easy. You know, we did a 20-minute session. Hopefully the first 15 minutes are easy. And you're like, no problem. It's the last like 4 minutes. Whew, that's when it gets tough and you've got to hold on to that. But that's the nice thing about it. And it's definitely a really good tool to throw into your training arsenal. And it's a great tool for a Fast Friday, which is today. So thanks for joining in, guys. I love that 20-minute session. Hopefully you guys have kind of learned something as well. It's been quite good fun. I look forward to seeing you on the next run. I will see you out there.